As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, the book 1984, written by George Orwell, was instrumental in starting my waking up to the truth about the Jehovah's Witness organization. In the book 1984, Orwell writes about the social structure called the Party. Now, the Party was a group that, as I read the book 1984, they sounded a lot like Jehovah's Witnesses. From publisher to pioneer to ministerial servant to elder, basically all the way up to the branch level, the whole organization. Now, in 1984, the party was broken into three social classes. There were the proles, or proletariat, and they, in my mind, would be like worldly people or inactive Jehovah's Witnesses. Because in 1984, the proles liked cheap alcohol, seedy entertainment, and other cheap thrills, and they never really cared about the party and how it worked. And as witnesses, we believe the whole world loves X-rated entertainment, drinking to excess, and sinning to excess, and that they don't care anything about Jehovah's organization. And as regular faithful witnesses, we judge inactive witnesses because we're trained to think that either greed, materialism, immorality, or other snares of Satan's system are causing them to be inactive and miss out on the best life ever. Then there's the outer party, and that reminded me of the rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses, from publishers to pioneers to ministerial servants. The outer party has some information about the society and the party as a whole, but they aren't privy to the inner workings of the party. And to me, that's similar to how it is for rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses. They have a working knowledge of the organization. However, they're not privy to many of the details that we as elders, the circuit overseers, and everyone else above that level gets. The members of the outer party also were constantly monitored for any sort of dissent or thinking that was contrary to what the party wanted you to think or believe, and they called that thought crime. And this reminds me of how Jehovah's Witnesses love to spy on each other. And as an elder, I get people's Instagram and Facebook posts and people telling me that they saw someone out doing this or that. Or I get friends that tell me that another member of the congregation said something that shows that they question the organization or that they don't believe every single word that the governing body has told us through the JW broadcast, the Watchtower, or any other publication that they published. And so they want us to question them about being an apostate, or they go and accuse them of being an apostate. And then we as elders end up having to settle a matter between two friends based on those accusations and try to restore peace among them. Then in 1984, there was the inner party, and they were the elite members of society. And these will be likened to elders, circuit overseers, and everyone else above that, all the way up to the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. They're the ones that are privy to a lot of the details that your rank and file Jehovah's Witness, like publishers, pioneers, and ministerial servants, aren't going to get. And this will be elders' letters, the Shepherd the Flock of God book, the Circuit Overseer's Manual, and the many other manuals and information that even I myself as an elder am not privy to. And so, as a Jehovah's Witness, if you're part of this inner party, you have more privileges than your rank and file witness. And that's because you can give public talks, you take the lead in field service by either being a field service group overseer or a field service group assistant. You shepherd the friends by making shepherding calls or visits to them. And just talking about shepherding visits, some of these shepherding visits may seem harmless. However, in the Shepherd the Flock of God book, under chapter 25, which is titled Shepherding, you'll notice that one of the purposes of the shepherding call is to protect the congregation so that no one is lost through neglect or because of the influence of Satan, the world, or apostates. And so we as elders start the visit under the guise of showing loving interest in the friends. However, we also want to ascertain or find out if they're falling under the influence of Satan, the world, or apostates. Now, we may not do this for an active, regular Jehovah's Witness who you see at all the meetings and who we see out in field service on a regular basis. But we may do this if you're an irregular publisher, not turning in your field service hours on a month-to-month basis, or if you're not regularly visible out in field service, or if you're not regular at both the midweek and weekend meeting, or more recently, if you're on Zoom and the elder body feels that you should be at the meetings physically based on what we believe about your circumstances. And this is because we're trained to check up on you and make sure you're not falling away from Jehovah or the organization. And we get this reminder at my congregation almost every circuit overseer visit. And also, that was a big focus during the Kingdom Ministry School for Congregation Elders, which is also known as the Elder School. But even as elders, those who are privy to more information and more privileges than your rank and file Jehovah's Witness, we're always being watched and monitored by other elders, our Kobe, and even the circuit overseer when he visits. And this is because we present the greatest threat to the organization on a congregational level. So if our prayer doesn't sound right from the stage, if our comments don't sound right, if we give a public talk and don't strictly adhere to the outline, or if we don't keep up to date with the changes in the public talk outlines, or keep up to date with the latest governing body update, or adjusted understandings in our Watchtower magazines, or maybe we're not visible in the ministry taking the lead like they want us to do, we may be questioned. If we're on vacation too much, or if we don't respond to a call or text message or email as soon as our Kobe wants us to, we may be questioned and come under scrutiny. Now, just going back to the Kobe title. Now, the Kobe is an acronym for Coordinator of the Body of Elders. And so if you've been away from the organization for a while, that is the replacement title for the Congregation Presiding Overseer, or PO as it used to be called. Now, there's a lot more that can be said on this subject, but these are just a few of the high-level similarities that I noticed between the book 1984 written by George Orwell and the Jehovah's Witness organization. Now, this video just deals with the party that was talked about in the book. But in other videos, I plan on covering other similarities between other entities, characters, and scenes in the book and contrast them with the Jehovah's Witness organization. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like. Feel free to leave a comment as well, as I appreciate those, and subscribe to my channel. And stay tuned for my next video. Thank you.